Hello, this is Cam. So for my interview, I chose a question about sex. It was a thought question that you had. It was about sex, and I interviewed four people. In this video, for the sake of it, we're gonna call them subject A, B, C, and D. And as you will see, my interview video, A, B, C, and D. It's interview 1, 2, 3, and 4. So subject A is 13, subject B is 23, subject C and D were 18. And so what I did for the ages, they're all 5 years apart. And since my question is about teenagers having sex, I started subject A, who's 13 years old, who just turned a teenager. And then I have two 18-year-olds who are almost done with their teenagers, and I have a 23-year-old who's not a teenager anymore, but just recently, just about 4 years. There were similarity between them. There were also lots of differences. And as you see each interview, you can see how more mature they get and more logical. So I'm assuming it's the frontal lobe developing as they're aging. So we're gonna start with subject A, which was my brother, 13 years old. His answers were very undecisive. He was relying on me to help him out a little bit. Most of the questions he wasn't sure about what he would say, what he wanted to say. And what I found interesting of my brother was when I asked him about sex education, he mentioned that most sex education that he has learned is from me, which I learned in the class that when you have a sibling, I guess, younger than you, they tend to have sex earlier than the older sibling, just because their exposure to their older sibling. So like, I guess me talking about sex and being open to my brother with it, it's gonna have him be more comfortable, and he'll eventually have sex before the age I did. And honestly, I actually want to see if that actually gonna happen, because I learned that in one of my psychology classes. So my brother, age 13, compared to the other 18 and 23-year-old, he was not concerned about STDs at all. I want to say he had no ideas about sexual diseases. He did not think oral sex is real sex. Actually, believe it or not, we have an 18-year-old who said oral sex isn't sex, who's a female. And just to show how immature he is, when I asked him about porn, what is porn, his answer was Pornhub. So you can just see he's hitting puberty, going to those websites, taking care of his business. Subject 2, Annabella, 23-year-old woman. She sounds comfortable when she talks. She knows what she's saying. She said no to teenagers having sex, but really her main concern was protection. I wonder if she was so worried about protection, maybe something has happened to him before, from experience before, but that's just me making assumptions. But her frontal lobe seemed much more mature because her answers were very logical compared to the other stuff. She was against sexting, and when I asked her about the porn question, she was a big no into incest porn, like I said in the video, daddy stuff. I think it's kind of funny. My subject C and D, they were a couple that I interviewed, Brandon and Rayleigh. Believe it or not, the answers were pretty alike. But again, you can see how they're younger compared to Annabella. Like, for example, like the answers, they're more like trying to make conversation and have fun than get serious into business. Just like me, my frontal lobe isn't developed. I'm not logical. And so what I found interesting when I asked Rayleigh if she finds oral sex, she said no. And that's really interesting to me. I was so tempted to say So what if you had sex with a guy right now, oral sex? You wouldn't count that as cheating, but I didn't. All um so all groups had similarities. The definition of sex for across all age span was the same. The touching of genitals from one gender to the other, or same gender, I guess. Definition of virginity was the same across all ages. It's almost like we have a word like when someone says, "Oh, you lose your virginity," the other person automatically has to know what it means. This is the kind of vibe I got from Brandon, subject C, and Annabella actually, and my brother, subject A. Um, all subjects were against sexting. They don't like sexting, and when I asked them, when you think one should have sex, I mean, Annabella's answer was like till they're out of high school, but most answer came down to after age of 18. I think they say the age of 18 is what the society has made them think because you can do so much at the age of 18, so why not just have sex at the age of 18? Um, to them, sex does not matter, but culture does. But I'm sure if I had interviewed other people from other cultural perspective, they would have said sex matters and culture does because um, honestly, all my four subjects are Americanized. My brother is Americanized, been here for a while, and the other three subjects were white. So that I can see, but I can see how that would be a different answer if I was asked a Muslim or like a Filipino or someone with, let's say, more of a authoritarian kind of parenting. Um, they were all concerned about STDs. Not my brother because he had no idea of what STD is. But yeah, that's about it. And then I guess let's put it more in a psychological term. Their mental age and their chronological age. My brother's mental age is low, so our subject C and D very immature when it comes to this kind of thing. But then that's just a frontal lobe not developing compared to my 23-year-old subject. And that's about it. Thank you. Please give me an A.